I can answer that for subscribers.
What's up everyone, this is Mason, and I had a request video from DJ Easy on possibly making a video for beginners, and I thought that was a great idea, so I wanted to go ahead and do that with you guys today. Oh, and if you're curious, I'm in my office at work instead of the van. With more and more people getting into Pokemon, it begs the question, why? And that's one of the things we're going to discuss in this video, is why people are getting into Pokemon, how you should get into Pokemon, when you should get into Pokemon, and what you should buy. So first things first, we're going to start with the why. Why more and more people are getting into Pokemon. And this is kind of easy. There's really two answers. Either you love Pokemon and you're getting into it for the love of the cards, the love of the game, or you're an investor hoping to buy some product to sit on and hopefully make a profit in the future. So I'm not judging here. There's really not that big of a difference if you're asking me. To me, a collector is just an investor that hasn't sold, right? Like they don't plan to sell in the near future. If they were to sell their cards in 20 years, people would think, wow, they were really smart to invest in those cards. So as far as collectors and investors go, there's really not too many dissimilarities when it comes to actually buying Pokemon cards. Though their motivations may be different, at the end of the day, they're still buying cards to hold or open or whatever it might be. Both collectors and investors will often buy sealed products to sit on or collect, or they will buy singles to sit on or collect. A good example of this would be the Umbreon VMAX, right? You can see where back in the day, it wasn't going for nearly as much as it is now. And this is one of the reasons investors are drawn to Pokemon, right? Because over time, Pokemon has been shown to go up and up over time, right? Sealed products especially retain or increase their value over time almost universally. So that covers why people are buying Pokemon. And really, it's pretty simple. Either you love it or you're looking to invest, right? Easy. But now we're going to go into how. And this is how you buy your cards. Now, obviously, there's Walmart, Target, GameStop, and other retailers that sell Pokemon cards. These days, you can kind of throw a rock and hit somebody trying to sell you some cards. On top of major retailers, you also have LGSs, or local game stores. I would personally highly recommend buying your cards from LGSs to support the community. And just a disclaimer here, you're going to hear the word community a lot. Pokemon is huge into community and you should be too. But in this day and age, of course, online is also an option. And there's stores like Poke&E, TCG Player, eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, and whatnot, amongst 1,000 other places you can get your cards online if that's what you choose to do. Now, when it comes to when to buy your Pokemon cards, this is kind of an interesting topic because if you don't know, Japan usually gets sets before English, about a month or so before English. So usually what happens is Japan will release two sets, and those two sets are combined into English sets. A good example of this would be Supercharged Breaker and Paradise Dragona that fuse together to make the monster Surging Sparks. So that's kind of the main sets, right? So on top of that, you've got special sets, holiday sets, high class sets. If you guys want to know more about that, let me know and I'll make a video going over that. For now, we're going to move on to why Japan's market is important for the US market. So to make it really simple, watching Japan's cards matter because they come out before ours, right? So you get an idea of popularity. You can actually see the cards a little bit before and you'll know like these cards are coming to America. Now it's no guarantee that they're going to be in the next set, but it's highly likely. An example of this would be Terrestrial Festival, where a leak came out of the Evolutions on the back of a poster, and those cards are going to be in our English set, Prismatic Evolution. And because of that, Prismatic Evolution pre-orders are already sold out almost everywhere, and the price is already rising. And that set doesn't come out in the US until January. Basically, you want to watch Japan because that's going to give you a good idea of what's coming to America, and it'll also give you an idea of the hype around a set or specific card. And the point of doing all that is so you can pre-order your cards, guys. I'm going to say this again and again in this video, you need to pre-order cards. In this day and age, 2024, 2025, it's looking like we're in the age of pre-orders, guys. You need to pre-order. Products are getting harder and harder to get, and if not that, then they're getting more and more expensive, right? A good example of that is Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks has gone up dramatically in just a month. I can't even imagine. I'm assuming by Christmas it's going to be a $200 box. And if you would have pre-ordered that, you would have got your box for like 100, 110, 120, something along those lines, but nowhere near 200. Now, when it comes to what you should buy, right, it really depends. If you're an investor, then you're going to be looking for high value cards and sealed product that you could sit on for over time, right? You're going to be watching graphs and things along that line. If you want to know more about that, let me know and I'll make a video on that as well. But if you're a collector, you're going to buy what you like. You're going to buy sets that have Pokemon that you love in it, or you're going to buy sets that you think are cool or wish to complete. It's very simple for collectors. So now when you have a set in mind, right, there's a range of options you can choose to buy from that set. It starts down with a booster pack. A booster pack is just 10 cards and a code card, right? This is kind of what we all know and love. And by the way, stay tuned, guys. I'm going to open this pack up and we're going to see what we get. After a booster pack, you have what are called blister packs. And blister packs are usually just 3 booster packs a promo card or two, and a coin. After that, you have what are called ETBs, and that's an Elite Trainer box. And those are usually 8 to 10 packs, it kind of just depends, but it also comes with a lot of goodies like dice and sleeves. Now, after the ETB comes the booster box. Now, this is what a lot of people like to collect sealed because they look really cool on a shelf or in acrylic cases. And investors also like to collect them because they go up in value over time significantly faster than most cards, but that can also change. So a booster box is 36 packs per box. And the point of doing this is that your cost per pack will go down the more you buy. Now, taking the cost per pack to an extreme, you have a booster case. A booster case is 6 booster boxes, so that's 216 packs. And obviously, if you do this, it's going to cost you anywhere from $600 to $800 or more, but your cost per pack will go down significantly. On top of all those, there's plenty of other stuff these days. You have UPCs, which are ultra premium collection boxes. You have poster collections, binder collections. I mean, there's 1,000 different things you can buy for Pokemon. Next time you're at Target or Walmart, kind of browse the aisles and check it out. An important thing to note about booster boxes is you will not find these at Walmart or Target or GameStop or anywhere like that. This is usually an online only thing, or go to your LGS local gaming store. Okay, so now you know what you're buying, right? And if you're like me, you're gonna have a lot of these things. I want to show you guys a cool trick for any pack in the Scarlet and Violet era. And how you'll know is it'll say on the pack, Scarlet and Violet. So what you wanna do is open it up. And this is a code card. This is used to pay TCG Live. Here's a code card for any of you that want it. So this is TCG Live. This is how you can play the Pokemon card game online. So the card trick here, right? And every set, every generation usually has a card trick. For Scarlet and Violet, you take the back card here and you move it to the front. And what this will do is leave your best 3 cards for last. So, oh wow, look at that. Ace Spec right off the rip. What we got? Megaton Blower. These are great for playing the game, but if you're like a serious collector or you're looking for value or something, the back 3 is where it's at. Well, since we have this cool Ace Spec, how do we protect this card, right? Now that you have cards, a huge part is going to be protecting these cards to retain their value and also to take care of your collection. That starts with sleeves. You can buy penny sleeves at Walmart. You can get them inside ETBs. They usually come with a pack of sleeves as well. So the first step is of course going to be just sleeving up your card. Now this offers protection, but it's not exactly foolproof. On top of a sleeve card is top loaders. Top loaders you can also get at Walmart and Target. What these are is just very hard, right? This is gonna make this card very, very sturdy. Now if you want to keep your cards sleeved up or top loaded up and just in a shoebox or something, you could totally do that. But what most people use are binders. Now I really want to stress this, guys. Do not use 3-ring binders. Do not do it. I cannot tell you how many collections I've gone to buy where someone has to use a 3-ring binder and the rings have creased the cards and destroyed them. Do not do it, guys. Nowadays, most binders are not 3-ring binders, but just don't do it. You can still find them out there. It's terrifying. I'll show you an example of the binders you want to buy. You can usually find these now at Walmart, Target, GameStop, or of course online. So now you have your card, it's protected and all that, and that's amazing. What if you want to take it a step further into the hobby? That's where we get into grading. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's 3 companies for grading, and that's PSA, Beckett, and CGC. So usually how grading works is the company will give it a scale between 1 and 10. There are exceptions to this, of course, like Beckett and CGC with their black label or perfects, but for the most part, 1 to 10 is kind of the standard. Me personally, I go through PSA always because PSA kind of has a premium for Pokemon. If you sell a card that's a PSA 10 in Pokemon and a card that's a Beckett 10, usually the PSA will fetch a higher price. Now, one thing I do want to tell you guys, just because nobody told me, is when you're grading, they'll ask you for a declared value. And just so you know, the declared value is what you think the card's value will be once it's graded. So you don't want to lie and say, this Charizard is a $20 card, right? You want to be very honest because what will happen is at the end, these companies don't charge you until they're done grading. So at the very end, if you get a bunch of 10s, they can say, well, now we're going to upcharge you a ton of money because you weren't honest with the declared value. Even if you were honest, it could still happen though, but that's just kind of suffering from success at that point. One little tip I would give you guys if you're going to be grading cards is to lightly clean them, right? You don't want to use water and soap, of course, but maybe a Q-tip and a little bit of isopropyl. I'm talking a tiny bit, and you just want to glide over the surface very gently. Don't be around the edges and stuff like that because they're very fragile. But one thing PSA and other grading companies grade for is surface, and that'll help a lot getting any dirt and grime off the card. Now, if you're wondering why I go through the trouble of grading, because it does cost money and it can take months to get your cards back, that's because grading will not only protect your card because it'll be slabbed, is what we call it, but also it'll increase the value if you get a high grade. If you get a 10, that can make a $50 card be a $250, $300 card easy. So now you have a bunch of cards and you want to sell them, right? You sell cards in your collection to make room for other cards. Now, where to sell cards is easy, right? You can sell them the same place you buy them. Usually, you can go online, you go to Facebook, Mercari, eBay, and you can sell them there. However, before you sell your cards, you need to know its price. And that's obviously so you don't lose money, but it's also because nobody's going to buy your card and you're going to waste a whole lot of time pricing it for well above market prices. So I'll show you now how to do that. The easiest way is to go to tcgplayer.com and look up your card, or it's to go to eBay. And if you're wondering how to look up your card, every card will have in the bottom right or left, depending when it came out, a set number or a set symbol. Usually it'll be a set number. For example, this Togekiss is 72/191. So if I was searching this, I would say Togekiss 72/191. If you know the set it came out of, that helps even more, because you could say Surging Sparks Togekiss 72/91. And you can do that on TCG Player and eBay, and it'll pull up the card very easily. Now, a couple things to talk about when it comes to selling your cards. If you're going to use eBay and TCG Player, you need to be aware of fees, right? Fees can go up to 14%, and that can really hurt you if you're not careful. So just be aware that you're going to have fees. You can try and calculate it into your price if you want. Most people just accept that's the name of the game. My preferred method of selling is just local, right? Usually you can do cash or you can do trades. Not only can you make some cool friends, but also it helps you get around those fees. Now, let's say you decide to sell a card on eBay. For this card, what I would do is I would put it just like this, a little bit of sticky note on top with some tape, put it in a piece of paper, fold it up, stick it in an envelope, and send it on its way. But if it's a higher value card, what you want to do is get some cardboard and some tape. And it's very simple. You would just do this, throw it in there, put this in a bubble mailer. You always want to use a bubble mailer for cards over $20. They cost around $5, but it does give you shipping and a little bit of protection. If you're selling cards on eBay, eBay has what's called an eBay standard envelope, which will let you ship cards up to $20 for like 60 something cents, I believe. And you also get a tracking number, so that really helps protect you. And speaking of protection, what we need to talk about now is payment methods. So if you're online, only use PayPal goods and services, period. I don't care about anything else, PayPal goods and services. There is a fee, and you can work that out between the buyer and seller about who wants to handle the fee, or if it's going to be counted for in the price or whatever, or however that goes. But the point is, there is a fee, so be aware of that. But it does protect you. If they run off with your card, or your card gets lost or stolen or something like that, you are protected, and it's extremely useful. It has saved me like so many times, right? I haven't been scammed, fortunately, that many times, but there's been plenty of times where my cards have been damaged or something along those lines, where I'm like, well, I have goods and services, I'm not worried about it. Another great option is selling locally to your local gaming store. Please remember that they do need to make some money too, so don't go in there expecting 100%. You're gonna end up wasting a whole lot of time and maybe get some hurt feelings. So now you have some cards, and maybe you've graded a few cards and you're selling cards and you're shipping them carefully and you're really into the hobby. So one thing I would highly recommend with Pokemon is getting involved with the local community. Pokemon is huge into community, and it always has been. Now, getting involved with the local community these days can mean a lot of different things, right? You can go to game stores and actually participate in tournaments if you're interested in playing the game. You can go to card shows or trade shows or whatever it is, right? There's a million different ways you can get involved with your community, and I would highly recommend it because it is, to me, the best way to experience Pokemon. Now, if you don't want to go in person, there's always online. You can do Facebook groups or pages or whatever it is, right? There's tons of different options for you. If you're in Kansas, you can join the Kansas Pokemon Collectors. That's my group on Facebook, and I'd be happy to have you. Real quick, I just want to say, if you guys found any of this information valuable, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. It'd really mean a lot. Also, I forgot I had an extra pack here, so we're going to go ahead and open this. Code card, any of you want to play this? Oh, real quick, that reminds me. Okay, wait, actually, we'll go through this real quick because I don't want it to look like I'm cheesing just in case I get anything good. Okay. Oh my god, I hate gouging fire. Well, there's that. Pokemon is more than collecting and investing, right? It's also a game, and it's a pretty fun one. So if you're interested, I would highly recommend checking out a local gaming store and see if somebody will teach you. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to. If you're not into that, you can check out TCG Player Live, and you can learn online. There's also things that Walmart and Target and other retail stores called Battle Academies. And this is kind of a board game, but it also teaches you the card game. It's very fun. I would highly recommend giving that a shot as well. And if all that seems like too much, nowadays we have something called TCG Pocket. just released very recently, and it's amazing. It's basically the Pokemon card game, but condensed down into a very short format. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm slightly addicted to it. So yeah, I would definitely check that out as well. Well, that's it. Now you're in the community, you're buying, you're selling, you're a big deal now. Congratulations. One thing you want to do now is stay on top of Pokemon, right? They're releasing cards and sets left and right. What I would recommend is using a couple websites that are very up to date on information, and they're constantly pumping out news, and they're really supplying everyone, right? Me and everyone else with this information. The one I use and highly recommend is PokeBeach, but there's also the official YouTube channel for Pokemon, not to mention X. What these sites will do is pump out new information to you. So if a new set's coming out in Japan and all of a sudden there's some leaks of the cards, like what happened with Prismatic Evolutions, you'll know ahead of time. You'll say, wow, those cards look crazy. I'm sure this set's gonna skyrocket. It might be a good idea to pre-order. Again, always pre-order. Until we get a terrible set, guys, you're probably gonna wanna pre-order. Now, I'm not saying going crazy and go into debt, but just make sure you get you some cards to open. All right, guys, well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much again to DJ Easy for requesting this video. I had a lot of fun researching and making it. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great day.